For modern India, I have enlisted the time period. The UPSC syllabus suggests mid 18th century till independence. That is 1750s till 1947. Today's topic is basically detailed analysis of the 18th century. Detailed analysis of the 18th century and beyond. Kindly put this as your heading whenever you will be writing your notes. Provide 1.5 inches of margin and please write on a blank sheet of paper. Right? Rana is writing 1757. You have identified this timeline just because of Battle of Plassey. You are absolutely correct. Very good. See, this chapter, it can have another heading. That means British. We'll try to add the component of British. British territorial expansion. British territorial expansion in India. We will deal with major components of 18th century and we will primarily learn about the interaction with the British. Right? Acha, will you provide notes? Don't worry. We will improvise. Vishwa, the idea is that to make you feel competent. The idea when you will enter into advanced classes, self-note making is an art you have to learn. For the initial days, we will improvise. In some cases, whatever I write on the board, do scribble on your paper. It will create memory links, create chains in your memory. It will help you recollect information. Also, I will dictate certain points. So it will be a mixed model. Whenever you feel that something I have written on the board and I have not dictated and you feel it is important, do ask. I will give the notes, whatever that will make you feel comfortable. I am here for the sole purpose of that. Don't worry. Also, this topic can lead towards another argument that is known as the 18th century debate. In the recent times, UPSC has asked no question whatsoever. Also, from the perspective of optional, some questions were asked and some generic questions were asked. So thereby, voice is blur, video is breaking. So we'll not be giving a lot of focus on this chapter. What seems to be the problem? Is it everything all right? Sure. All right? Okay. Acha. Acha. Everything all right. We'll proceed forward. Sir, please do not break the flow. Humble request. We will try to do the same. See, this is the component. And whatever I write on the board, please write it in your own copies. Components of 18th century. I'll provide a general view for the same and alongside give you certain reading materials, print reading materials and some assignments what you have to do. Components of 18th century. One is the central authority. That is the Mughals. Another component is the autonomous states. Under autonomous states, we have the examples of Bengal, which is actually a part of your syllabus. We have Awadh, we will deal with it in your revolt of 1857. And we have Hyderabad, we will not be dealing with Hyderabad. We have the component of independent states. Independent states will have the example of Mysore or Mysuru, the Marathas, Sindh, and Punjab, right? These are all indigenous elements. Alongside there is the European powers. European powers, please remember there is a chapter known as Advent of Europeans. Advent of Europeans is an affair of 15th century and 16th century and beyond, which is not a part of modern India. It is a part of medieval India. But certain elements are happening in modern phase, especially struggle between European powers. This specific event is known as Anglo-French conflict. Anglo-French conflict, also known as Carnatic Wars. Kindly write this diagram down. We will erase the board and proceed forward, right? I hope you have written, and please remember it should not be a lackadaisical effort that you will take screenshots or you will follow at a later period following the recorded lectures. It is never going to happen. Those who are available online, do it right here, right now. And try to give me a pace, heads up. I do not know what is the pace of yours as of now. Once you have done, you can give me some response. It will aid me. I hope you have written. I'll be erasing the board. Ajab, Alisha Nigam, Hegel. No, Hepsi. All right. You have raised your hands. I do not know why. To interact, to ask questions. You can drop a text. Unfortunately, you do not have any audio input system. We'll get it very soon, right? The first component is the central authority. Or the Mughals. For the Mughals, it is important note the 6 subsequent important rulers. That is Babur, founder. He put an end to the Lodhis, that is the Delhi Sultanate, in the year 1526. His tenure lasts till 1530. We will deal these topics in your medieval India, so I'll not be venturing more here. Sir, क्या पढ़ा रहे हैं अभी? I am teaching you how to be a good salesman. Nurhat or Nozhat, not UPSC. Babur was succeeded by Humayun. Humayun was succeeded by Akbar. Akbar was succeeded by Jahangir. Jahangir was succeeded by Shah Jahan. and Shah Jahan was succeeded by Aurangzeb. Again, this is happening in medieval India. This topic is from medieval India. Death of Aurangzeb, basically the tenures are there. Aurangzeb about 1556, 1656, 1658 till 1707. Death happens in 1707. That is happening in the 18th century. Right? Aurangzeb death is happening in 18th century. 1707. Please understand, it is happening in 18th century. 18th century is between 1701 and 1800. That means this will constitute one of the important reasons for the decline of the Mughals. The chapter that can be important for your mains or the topic will be the decline of the Mughals. We will discuss the causes or the platform behind the decline of the Mughals. See, there are an important list or list of important Mughals. You can take an assignment by learning about the tenures of, for example, Farrukhsiyar. For example, Muhammad Shah or Muhammad Shah Rangila. I'll also give you an additional reading document. It is not very important. I am not discussing in the class. Then is Shah Alam II and Bahadur Shah Zafar. These are the list of important rulers. Their tenures are important. For example, Farrukhsiyar, 1713 to 1719. Right? Muhammad Shah, 1719 till about 1748. Shah Alam II was subsequent or followed by Muhammad Shah was followed by Shah Alam II till 1788, and the Bahadur Shah Zafar was the last Mughal emperor. Tenure is 1837 till 1857. He participated in the revolt of 1857. So kindly find out about these later Mughals. We will deal these topics in your medieval India. Ayush, you are absolutely right. Bahadur Shah Zafar, tenure is 1837 to 1857. The topic we will discuss today is the decline of the Mughals. That means the causes or platform behind decline or end of Mughal Empire. Mughal Empire. How you can structure suppose kindly make this diagram. We'll look into the political, we'll look into the administrative, we'll look into the economic, we'll look into the socio-cultural, and we'll look into the military causes. Kindly make this diagram. I'll start giving dictations. Angad, you're saying you do not understand some words. I do understand. My young students who join for the first time, they face certain difficulty regarding the accent, regarding certain words I use. It is absolutely normal. Please do ask me where you face the problem, any spelling that you need assistance with. I'll help you out. See how the reality actually pans out. In the UPSC examination, I remember those days, there was a question asked in essay paper, a subtle difference between endanger and engender. A number of students could not understand what is the meaning of the same. There are multiple such words in UPSC mains that are incomprehensible. I can make today's journey easy. You will find your actual experience there extremely difficult. If you embark on a journey, go through the difficult journey today, it will be easy for you tomorrow. For today, let me help you out. You ask me, you are very advanced. Don't worry. You ask me, where seems to be the problem? Communication error, too much of English. Should I slow down? You give me certain inputs. I will slow things down. You have written. Let us begin. We will start with the political causes. In simple language, we will start writing. See, what we are going to do is that first you will write political causes and I'll dictate certain things, then you will write administrative causes and so on. I will keep on dictating. Put the heading, the political causes. Write down. The Mughals showed their strength. The Mughals showed their strength and resilience. Showed their strength and resilience for nearly 2 centuries. For nearly 2 centuries. Full stop. Death of Aurangzeb created a serious impediment, created a serious challenge to the Mughal Empire. Full stop. The weakness was visible in administration, polity, society, as well as economy. Full stop. More importantly, weak monarch invited invited troubles from inside as well as outside of the country, from inside as well as outside of the country. Kindly put the heading administrative or administrative causes. By the way, let me explain first, then I'll dictate. There is something known as the Mughal Royal Court. The Mughal Royal Court. See, the Royal Court consisted of multiple ethnic elements. Who are they? For example, the Turani groups. Turani group. Please remember, while the Mughals were alive, they were not termed as Mughals. It is the British who termed them Mughals because of their Mongol origin. From their family lineage, they traced origin from the Mongols as well as the Turks. Turani, its anglicized form is Turks. Turani groups were one of the most powerful group within the Mughal nobility. But it is also important to remember that Mughals never offered partiality to the Turani groups. Certain other elements within it, the Irani groups, that is from Persia. There is the Afghani group. Also the Sheikhzadas. Sheikhzadas were Indian Muslims, converted or otherwise. They also assumed a lot of social status. From the period of Akbar, you will see the entry of the Rajputs. Another element known as the single most factor to offer stability and security to the Mughals is said to be the Rajputs. Under the Rajput policy of Akbar, they also became a part of Mughal court, and subsequently during Jahangir, most importantly Shah Jahan and onwards, Shah Jahan and Aurangzeb, you will see the element of Deccani group or Dakhini group. And another element is of the Marathas. That means this element, this ethnic diversity, is suppose during Aurangzeb and beyond. That means by the time of Aurangzeb, if you go to a Mughal court, you will find all these ethnic elements. If you go to the court of Humayun, you will find only this, this and this, or this, Afghani as well. If you go to the court of Akbar, you will find this till the Rajputs. If you go to Aurangzeb, you will find all the ethnic elements. We are debating in the 18th century, thereby you will be finding all the ethnic elements. Now, there was always the struggle for power and also the struggle for access to resources. Thereby, there will be tussle within these groups. They will act individually as well as for the interest of the monarch. You can understand, if the monarch is strong, king is strong, the emperor, the Shahanshah is strong, they will act in tandem, in cooperation. There will be lesser conflict. But if the central authority is weak, they will struggle for power. They will try to break free and take power on their own. So that is the challenge in administration. We will write this point down. Please write down. By the time of Aurangzeb, multiple ethnic elements adorned the royal court. Adorned the royal court. Full stop. After death of Aurangzeb, these elements tried to assume power for themselves. Tried to assume powers for themselves, leading to chaos within the court. Leading to chaos, that means conflict. Chaos within the court. Full stop. This weakened the empire further. Next point, add another component. The Mansabdars also became powerful with the weakening of central power. And soon started operating in a semi-independent fashion. Right? I have used a term that is Mansabdar. I will use it to explain the economic crisis known as the Jagirdari crisis. Before doing so, I will take 5 minutes to explain the system of Mansabdari. Mansabdar, it is a tool under Mughal administration. Mansabdari system was introduced by Akbar. Please remember, it had both indigenous elements. Indigenous, that means Indian, local components, and also foreign components. Especially they belong to the Turani group. They were Turkish. That means they had Turkish elements or Turkish practices. These are statements for your prelims, if a question that can be asked. Generally, questions are regarding any administrative custom, whether they are indigenous or foreign in origin. Ravina, you are asking, please repeat the Mansabdar line. Unfortunately, I do not exactly remember what line. I'm once again repeating. Mansabdari system is an administrative tool introduced during the Mughals. It was introduced by Akbar. The second line, Mansabdari system had indigenous elements. That means it borrowed inspiration, customs and traditions from India as well as foreign elements, especially Turkish practices, right? The sir, the Mansabdar portion was part of administrative causes of its independent. Paris is asking, can you repeat the last line? Word semi-independent. Unfortunately, I lost track. We will sort these problems. I generally tell another student to dictate these points. Unfortunately, the lines will change. It will not be the exact thing. What was I discussing? I was discussing what assistance? If anybody has written, kindly post it. So it will help you out. I cannot produce it verbatim, the exact what I have dictated. See, what is Mansabdari system? Mansab means a rank. No, it does not. See, Mansabdari is a kind of administrative practice. It is a kind of administrative mechanism. Mansabdar has indigenous as well as foreign elements. It is an administrative mechanism. The holder of a Mansabdari tenure, is known as a Mansabdar. The one who holds the Mansabdari tenure is known as a Mansabdar. Now, a Mansabdar is directly appointed by the emperor. That means there is a direct central authority over the position of Mansabdar, and directly that a Mansabdar posted anywhere will be reporting directly to the emperor. This is what you need to understand about the Mansabdar. Now, Mansabdari system or a Mansabdar has two components. The system of Mansabdari consists of a dual numerical rank. One is Zat or Jat, the other one is Sawar. Both are numerical ranks, nothing to do with each other. Zat rank decided the authority / position, also denoted hierarchy, and also decided the remuneration or emolument, salary. These are the two components decided by Zat. It hovered, varied between 50 and 5,000 during Akbar. During Aurangzeb, it exceeded to as high as 7,000. For example, a person holding, suppose, 500 Zat, a person holding 1,000 Zat, who will be superior? Hierarchy will be decided with the rank. A person holding 1,000 will be superior. Fair enough. Who will be getting more remuneration, salary, will be with a higher Zat rank. What is Sawar rank? Sawar rank denoted or decided number of horses and troops to be maintained by a Mansab or Mansabdar. That means Sawar rank decided that how many horses or cavalry men you have to maintain. Savar rank had nothing to do with Zat. They had no relationship whatsoever. Please remember, a person with higher Zat rank does not mean he will have higher Savar rank. They can have lesser number of Savar rank as well, depending on the complexity of his post. Suppose a person posted here and another Mansabdar is posted here. This is a disturbed territory. You need more troops here. That means naturally the respective Mansabdar will be given more Savar rank. Here, suppose it is a relatively peaceful or rather peaceful agrarian society. Naturally, the number of troops needed will be less. There is no need for appointing more soldiers and wasting state resources. Thereby, the Savar rank will be less. So, it has nothing to do with the Zat rank. It has independent importance. If you have any doubts regarding this concept, please do ask. Shabnam is asking Jat or Zat. See, that is corruption of language. If you travel throughout the country, there is a term, a Mughal idea known as fitna. Fitna, that means Bagawat. That means every family member of the Mughals, they rebelled against their parents. And generally, Mughals will try to crush them. If they fail to crush, they will accommodate them within their system. This practice is known as fitna. But you go to Deccan region, it is known as fitwa or eastern region. Nizam, the word in south remains so. In east, it becomes nazim. That is known as corruption of language. So Zat can be there, Jat can also be there. It is fine. Rupin is saying, is Zat money? I did not tell money anywhere. Zat rank may define money. See, in Maharashtra is known as Fitur, all right. See, Zat rank will decide money. Zat is not money. Zat rank will define how much money that Mansabdar is entitled for. A Mansabdar having 5,000 Zat will have higher money as compared to a Mansab having 3,000 Zat. As simple as that. Suppose, understanding from the language of public services, a person, I do not know what is the exact grade pay right now. For class 1 gazetted services, it was 5,400. Maybe today 56 or 5,800. So, for a group B or group C otherwise, the grade pay will become gradually lesser and lesser, 4,800, 2,400 or 1,600. Higher the designation, higher the salary. That is absolutely as simple as that. Sunigdha is saying, can you repeat once again about Savar? The Savar rank, this rank decided the number of horses or troops to be maintained by a Mansabdar. That's it. These systems are rather complex. There are certain texts, for example, Ain, Abul Fazl wrote, or later on British tried to simplify. We do not know the exact mechanism of the same. Several historians have simplified this process. Often by making oversimplification, they have misrepresented. Whatever might be the derivatives, again, law and actual implementation of law, there is a lot of difference. Savar ensured the number of horses and the troops. The horses without the masters, the cavalryman, means nothing. And the cavalry without the horses is also nothing. So Savar rank decided both. Again, you have to broaden the horizon of your thinking. You will comprehend better. If you have a linear understanding, it will make more difficulty. Try to understand the sentiment of the lectures. It will take a few days of struggle. You will be comfortable after a while. I do not expect it overnight. Right? If you have any follow-up questions, you do ask. Mohammad Kulsu is asking, sir, how many questions will be in prelims based on this concept? I'll talk to the chairman. If he gives me any response, I'll soon tell you. Sir, who created this? It is created Akbar. I just said. Sir, can you give a brief timeline of Mughal Emperor? I can. Can you repeat once again about this art? All right. We will move on forward. Now, we will discuss about the economic causes. The economic causes, basically we need to deal with two ideas. One is the Jagridari crisis. And then we'll discuss about other economic crises, for example, decline of royal karkhanas, traditional cities or traditional industrial towns, and ports, and agriculture / land revenue customs or land revenue system. Kindly write down these points. I will explain them one after other. Vanshika is saying, sir, if a disturbed territory needs more Zat, then it need not be need more Sawa. What? Acha, side sir. There you go. Huh? Have you all written? Yes, sir, please move a little. Acha, I did. I'm not even visible. Sir, this class focused on prelims on mains. I give you the orientation. It is about mid 18th century onwards. In prelims, anything under the sky can be asked. This is designed for prelims as well as mains. Shall we move on? I'll explain the Jagridari crisis. See, suppose Jagridari crisis, there are certain technical terms. The technical terms can be asked in your prelims, but the concepts that builds up the point, the decline of the Mughals, that can be asked in your mains, although chances are very little. Achha, Mohammed is asking that what type of question? See, Mohammed, the types can be, I have explained what is Mansabdari. They can ask a question like this, that consider the following statements about the Mansabdari system. They have asked in previous years that consider the following statements regarding Ikta. Now, statement 1, it is indigenous in nature. You know it is wrong. It had foreign as well as indigenous. They ask that its humble beginning foundation was established during Humayun. You know it was Akbar, right? And they ask a component that during the period of Aurangzeb, the Zat rank exceeded to 5,000. You probably will be knowing back then after the end of the lectures that Aurangzeb had offered 5,000 rank to Shivaji or son of Shivaji. It led to insult of Shivaji. Right after Treaty of Purandar, he was offered this rank. By that time, Rajput leaders and other very big Mansabdars had 7,000 rank. That is why it insulted Shivaji and led to the rise of the Maratha chaos. So thereby you can answer these questions in your prelims. This is how the questions will be set. For example, they will ask what is Nakdi Mansabdar? What is Watan Jagirdar? So in this way, questions can be asked, right? Sir, speak at least a line in Hindi. I never saw you speaking Hindi. All right. You will see soon probably. It feels so much uncomfortable, right? Foreign invasions are also come. No, not at all. Foreign invasions are a separate point. It will come under military point, right? See, Jagirdari crisis, we have explained what Mansabdari is, right? We have learned about the Mansabdari system. Now, what is the mode of payment? Mode of payment of a Mansabdar, that can be in cash or kind. That means holder of Jagir tenure. Those Mansabdars who were paid in cash, they were known as Nakdi Mansabdar. They were known as Nakdi Mansabdar. Those Mansabdars who were holders of Jagir tenure were known as Jagirdar. Let us have a look regarding the system of Jagirdar. I hope you have written silent करना था, ठीक है. I hope you have written now the Jagirdari system. That means Jagirdars are a sort of Mansabdar. Jagirdars are holders of Jagir tenure. Holders of Jagir tenure. Now, what is the meaning of Jagir? Jagir literally means transferable land rights. Jagir literally means transferable land rights. Now, a Jagirdar can be of two types. One having transferable land rights. They are known as Tankha Jagirdar. And there are hereditary Jagirdars. They are known as Vatan Jagirdar. Tankha Jagirdar and Vatan Jagirdar. Tankha Jagirdar, that means the general sense of the word. That means they are transferable jobs. They do not enjoy ownership right. They claim their privilege over the produce. That means they are transferable land rights. But suppose some elements who became too powerful, for example, the Marathas. Marathas were some problem for the Mughals that they could not address. Thereby, they had some kind of arrangements. It was also true for some Rajputs. The Mughals had an agreement with these people. The agreement was that these people will remain in their respective territory. They will not be changing locations, but they will accept the sovereignty of the Mughals. They will pay annual tributary, and Mughals will have a loose association. These were known as Vatan Jagirdars. Kindly think about it. Tell me if you do not understand. If you understand or are having any problems here, kindly write it down. I have changed my position. Manushri is writing transferable and hereditary. You are absolutely correct. Acha, repeat once again. See, we know about the Mansabdari system. Mansabdari is an administrative mechanism. Now, Mansabdar has to be paid salary, right? Now, you can either pay salary in cash. Generally, if you are nearer to Delhi, suppose you are positioned near to Delhi, that means naturally the emperor can give you salary in cash. Directly it can send salary. Suppose you are positioned in Surat or in Bengal. Now you have to carry the gold. There can be the chances of theft. They can steal. So naturally you cannot transfer gold. Also the emperor needs gold in Delhi. Because of military operations, gold is something they would need it for themselves. So thereby often the Mansabdars who were staying away, in some of the cases large officers were paid in kind. They were given the authority over the produce of the land. Now suppose given a land, they will use the land for cultivation and other economic activities. They will put tax on the land. Now this tax will be used for meeting his own personal consumption. A Jagirdar has his own personal consumption. Also to maintain the army, I have discussed Sawar rank. And the surplus amount was generally settled with the emperor. If the emperor is weak, a Mansabdar, that means in this case a Jagirdar, will he send the salary back? No. And also the transferable land rights, if the Jagirdar becomes powerful, will soon turn to become hereditary. This is the Jagirdari crisis. You write it down. It is a bit of a complex concept. Please explain Vatan Jagirdar. Vatan Jagirdar, they are having hereditary ownership of land rights. That means, suppose some of the Rajput elements, some of the Maratha elements, the Mughals could not defeat them. Now, Mughals also did not want to waste their money. They also did not want to waste their resources. The war was continuing. So they came to a middle path. Also, the Marathas did not want constant attack from the Mughals. So both acted for a mediation. The arrangement is that the Marathas will accept the sovereignty and the Mughals will acknowledge that the Marathas are a part of the Mughal territory. They will also send some token money. So this arrangement is Vatan Jagirdar. Please understand, suppose you are posted as a civil servant. Suppose you are posted in Thrissur, a place in India. Now you are positioned for 1 year. there is lesser chance of you making connivance. Suppose you are stationed for 20 years, you will turn to grow more and more powerful, and political, economic, and otherwise nuisances can occur. Thereby, in also today's civil services, they are regularly posted elsewhere, or obviously for to end or limit the corruption practices. Also, it was true during the Mughals. They were transferred so that a Jagirdari cannot pose a challenge to the Mughal Empire. Do you understand? Sadia is asking how many concepts today, sir? A few more. I'll dictate, you will be comfortable. Please write down. Shreya is asking, Jagirdar is a type of Mansabdar. Yes, it is. Can I say all Jagirdars are Mansabdar, but all the Mansabdars not? Yes, you can. Right? Please write down. Under economic causes, I'll explain this point. Put the heading Jagirdari crisis. Also, you can understand, to have Jagirdari practices, you need Jagir land. If the Mughal emperor is out of land, they cannot employ Jagirs anymore. This is another form of Jagirdari crisis. Write down. Sejal is asking, are they tax collector in short? No. One of their roles will be tax collections, but they are not tax collectors per se. They are administrative representative of the emperor. Two like central and state government. Jagirdari system and Ikta system the same? No, but they had a lot of similarities. Write down. The Mughal administration was effectively carried out till the period of Aurangzeb. Full stop. Signs of decline started becoming visible by the end of the tenure of Aurangzeb. Full stop. Next point. Bijapur and Golconda. Bijapur and Golconda were the last territories to be annexed. Under the Mughals. That happened in 1685 and 89 respectively. Right. Annexed under the Mughals. Full stop. During the period of later Mughals, during the period of later Mughals, it was found out that there was non-availability of Jagir land. There was non-availability of Jagir land. there was non-availability of Jagir land. Full stop. Also existing Jagirdars had become too powerful. Also existing Jagirdars had become too powerful and often declared their positions as hereditary. Full stop. This idea is referred to as Jagirdari crisis. Write a paragraph as note beneath that. Add another component. Write down as note. However, historians such as Satish Chandra argued that the Jagirdari crisis was not real. Jagirdari crisis was not real. Full stop. According to him, the Mughals did not face shortage of Jagir land, at least in the initial period. That means Jagir crisis was actually a later phenomenon. Full stop. He argued that, that means Satish Chandra argued that majority land occupied were converted into Khalisa land or royal land, and their income directly went to the royal treasury. Next point. Aurangzeb did so mostly to finance his military campaigns in the Deccan. That means military campaigns is taken, right? That means I helped you argue what is Jagardari crisis and also to what extent Jagardari crisis was true, right? The next point is decline of royal karkhanas and traditional industries and towns and ports. Write down. Kindly put the heading. Write down. With the weakening of with the weakening of with the weakening of the Mughal Empire, the weakening of Mughal Empire, the decline was also reflected in the decline was also reflected in decline was also reflected in handicrafts industry. Decline was also reflected in handicrafts industry. Full stop. Industrial towns such as Delhi, Agra, Banaras and Surat. Banaras and Surat witnessed decline. Witnessed decline. Also beneath that as note, please write down. Write down as note. However, it did not mean, it did not mean the overall decline. However, it did not mean the overall decline of handicrafts industries and commerce. Full stop. For example, new cities and ports. For example, new cities and ports emerged, like Calcutta, Bombay, and Madras. We are also trying to counter argue. These note, whatever I am making you write under notes, they have a different purpose. I will soon explain what the purposes are. Here, I would want you to understand this point, that decline of handicrafts, when we use the term, this is not a phenomenon of 18th century. It is a phenomenon of much beyond. With actual rolling out of British Industrial Revolution, we will see in the domestic market a concept known as decline of handicrafts. But the symptoms will be visible here from here onwards. Third is agriculture and land revenue system. Write down. Agriculture and land revenue system. Write down. The Mughal land revenue system. The Mughal land revenue system was designed during Akbar. Especially by his finance minister Tudor Mal. Finance minister Tudor Mal. Finance Minister Todermal. Full stop. By 18th century, these practices had become obsolete. Kritika is saying Dahasala system. Absolutely correct. Bandobast or the Dahasala system. We'll learn in your medieval classes. Dahasala, what is Dahasala? They used to take the average. They used to give proper land records. The rights documentations had to record them. And the land revenue was decided on the average of the produce. They categorized the land into Chachar, Paroti, Banjar, all these categories. The type of crops produced. And after the assessment, the average of 10 years used to define the land revenue that is to be paid. But remember, it's been, if I assume it is mid 16th century, by 18th century, it's been more than or close to 2 centuries. That means land records, all these things were lost. They had become redundant, obsolete. Also, you can understand, add another line. Somebody is saying that, repeat the line. Had become obsolete, redundant, outdated. Become outdated. That means the data. Suppose if I use the data of 1947 to decide voting pattern of today in 2023, I will undergo injustice. Simple, right? For example, the states like Bihar, it has undergone more population, but the number of constituencies is less as compared to suppose West Bengal. So that is an anomaly. There are multiple such errors. Write down the Mughals introduced temporary land revenue settlements. Such as Malguzari or Ijaredari system. Full stop. These temporary arrangements showed the weakness. These temporary arrangements showed the weakness. And short-sightedness or temporary nature of the Mughal economy. Short-sightedness of the Mughal economy. Imagine you are assuming planning for next 10 years or 20 years. That means it shows that your mental, political, economic or otherwise strength. But you are thinking about the next year. That means your temporary nature of your psyche. The Mughals during Akbar, they were thinking about their vision for next decade or so. For by this time, they only wanted to arrange for next 1 year or 2 years. Thereby you can understand they are in shortage of money. They only want money for an immediate basis to keep themselves afloat. So in this way you can understand this. Right? We will deal with the next component. Economic done. Socio-cultural, there is not particularly anything that is worth considering. Again, there were, regarding law and order, there were certain situations faced, right? There were more religious orthodoxies. The state played limited role. Thereby, the entire Mughal order succumbed to religious orthodoxy. Certain orthodox elements, conservative elements took over power. It was marked by alienation of rights. That means more exploitation within the lines of the caste. So in this way, you can understand socio-cultural, right? Military causes, that means here I would say external and internal challenges. External and internal challenges. Simran is writing, Achha, Ishani writing, please repeat last line. Simran, please repeat. I have no clue what my last line was. Simran is asking, Jizya system. Why are you asking Jizya system? Jizya or Zazia? Are you talking about the taxation upon the non-believers? Why are you saying that here? It does not make sense. Amrita is saying, please explain again, sir. We have to write external and internal. We do have to write external and internal. Short-sightedness of the Mughals was the last line. Acha. I mean to say, suppose, what is Malguzari and Ijaradari? I will deal once again in your land revenue policies. Under the Malguzari or the Ijaradari system, it was auctioned off. Nilami. It was auctioned to the highest bidder. That means these rights to the land to collect taxes were given to the highest bidder for a period of 1 year or 2 years. Now in the bidding process, the highest bidder took away the land. Now the person knows that after 1 year, the tenure will be gone. Somebody else will come and auctioning will happen. Will he or she, or here in this case only he, will he focus on the betterment of the condition of land or the peasants? No. He will try to exploit as much as he can. Thereby Malguzari and Ijaradari destroyed the agricultural customs. You can understand a number of peasant revolts will happen. Jat rebellion, Satnami rebellion, Sikh rebellion. I'll dictate these points. Tanmay is asking, Tanmay is here. These temporary arrangements showed the weakness and short-sightedness of Mughal. All right. Kritika is saying, हम नहीं बनाएंगे बस ये how to remember these terms with practice, repetition. So in this way, let us have a look about the military causes, the external and the internal ones. Suppose the military causes. Naturally, number one, Mughal army will be in disarray. They will be fighting, having internal conflicts. It will be visible in external attacks and internal challenges. Internal challenges, that means threats from inside, will be in the form of rise of Marathas. And peasant revolts. Peasant revolts can be Jat rebellion, the Satnami, and the Sikh rebellion. For the external attacks, worth mentioning will be invasion of Nadir Shah. He was a Persian invader. He was a Persian. For the first time, an outsider will have the audacity to attack India. This happened in 1739. Then is the invasion of, or sorry, not invasion per se, that is the third battle of Panipat. That is 1761. Lastly, the Battle of Buxar. (1764). Battle of Buxar was fought against the British by the Mughals along with Awadh and Bengal. We'll learn about them. Just write it here. We'll explain further later. Against British. That means British defeated them here. These were the first two were land-based attack from India's northwest, and the last one is a maritime attack. That means from a European power that strengthened itself from the sea. Vanshika is asking, sir, how Mughals are also outsiders? You and I both are outsiders, Vanshika. Malik is saying, Malik Muskan, after the Allahabad Treaty was signed, invasion of Ahmad Shah Abdali. Love Kush is saying invasion of Ahmad Shah Abdali. That is absolutely correct. Third Battle of Panipat. You're reading too much of YouTube videos. What was the last one? Vanshika. Not healthy. Please side, please. All right. Third Battle of Panipat. What did I say? Third Battle of Panipat was fought between Ahmad Shah Abdali or Ahmad Shah Durrani, the Afghans, and the Mughals. The Marathas under Sadasiv Rao and all, the Marathas supported the Mughals. They fought the battle for them. This is how it happened. Nayan is saying third Battle of Panipat of Ahmad Shah. Yes, definitely. Ahmad Shah Abdali is also Ahmad Shah Durrani. Sir, please write a little clear. Again, we need to have this arrangement in the very first class. You and I both will have an understanding. Nothing will be against my handwriting. It will hurt me personally. Acha, also explain socio-cultural. We will. Art, it has the potential to be in a calligraphy, in mosques, mausoleums, temples. It will be aesthetically pleasing. Anyways, the socio-cultural impact, it is not directly visible. When I say socio-cultural impact, a peasant revolt part, that I have too many comments. Let me do one by one. The socio-cultural impact, that means it is simply talking about the decline of the social components and the cultural components. That means you will say that because of no authority from the center, administration weakened. You can understand education weakened. You can understand. So there are number of areas you can identify. Education sponsored by the state and the religious bodies took care of it. So that declined without any sponsorship. So overall, the entire order was declining. And whatever was the reason, it created the platform for the rise of the British. So in this way, you can understand that. There is nothing to particularly dictate. If you want me to, I can. But they are not directly showing why the decline of Mughals were happening. So I have just explained, I did not write anything. Right, Sejal is asking, again, handwriting. What have you written about after Battle of Buxar? I have written Battle of Buxar against the British. right? Peasant revolt, Jat rebellion, Satnami rebellion, and Sikh rebellion. Right? Yeram is saying dictate. You don't need any dictation here. Which part do you want dictation? Sir, in Mughal period, did individual owned land, Jagirdars got transferable land rights? One moment. Sir, in Mughal period, did individual owned land, Jagirdars got transferable land rights over state owned land? Don't worry, I will explain this. We will sort it out later. Nityanantham is saying Nadir Shah is Afghan invasion. No, what are you doing? Nadir Shah is a Persian. I have written here. He is a Persian invader. Third battle of Panipat was between the Afghans and the Mughals. Afghans under Ahmad Shah Durrani or Ahmad Shah Abdali. Mughals led by the Marathas. That's it. I will explain, don't worry. In our next class, today we have to wrap it up. In our next class, we will deal with the 3 battles and why they happened in Panipat. Will you share notes or whether you have to write only these? It will be a mixed model. I'll improvise. We'll learn about a lot of content. It's just the beginning. Right. Wasim is saying that Hector Munro versus Triple Alliance. Yes. Very good. So that is it for today. We will not extend further. We will again meet in your next class. Gaganesh says, will you dictate? I will. It feels like a threat to me. Will you or not? There was another student who wrote in all capital, dictate, or I'll send someone at your place. We will. Gradually we will deal with it. So today we have to finally wrap it up. We will. I yield. I surrender. We will dictate, right? So thank you very much. We'll meet again. Bye-bye.